Welcome back to episode 86 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm in northern Minnesota. I'm in the Gongshow gazebo. I'm in the same vicinity as Troy, but Troy's in the back bedroom of the cabin. We're doing this.
Yeah, I'm in the back bedroom. I got kicked out of the Gongshow gazebo. We aren't very good at audio production, and we couldn't figure out how to get it without echoing.
We're not audio engineers, so we need, if anyone wants to apply for that job, it pays horribly, basically nothing. Love and admiration is what you get from us. But we've been here a few days now, up at the lake, beautiful northern Minnesota. Have had very untypical Memorial Day weekend weather where it's normally raining and cold the whole time. It has been sunny, glorious. It's about 80, 85 degrees today. Just got off the lake, back from the beach. Took the kids swimming. Water's still a little cold, Troy, but Kids braved it anyways. The biggest thing to this point in our trip is there's been 0 trips to the hospital, which I'm very happy about. Everyone's fingers are still there, toes are still there. So we're all doing good. They're off in the ATVs now, the family is, and going to get some ice cream, so gave us a little time to record the episode. The one thing, though, is the mosquitoes are horrid. You ever seen mosquitoes this bad?
I have never seen them this bad. I've seen a lot of mosquitoes, but when we pulled up on Friday night at, 10 o'clock at night or whatever it was, boy, those things were out for a vengeance. They came dive bombing, and these aren't like small little tiny mosquitoes. These were big suckers. They were ready to fight.
They were out for blood, literally.
Yeah.
Been a great trip, though, so far, and having a lot of fun, and excited to get into the episode today. Before we do, though, just want to remind everyone that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means that we rely on support from listeners like you to help us cover our expenses, continue to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and help us to fund initiatives to grow the hockey hobby in even a small way. Right now, you can still be one of the first 99 supporters and forever have that title. It's only $5 a month. It's done through Patreon. You can find the link to support us on the hockeycardsgongshow.com website. There's a Become a Patron link right at the top. Or you could go to the Patreon website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. We've included a link in the show description for the podcast app you're listening to us on right now. And finally, in our TikTok and Instagram profiles and our link tree, there is a link to Patreon there. Okay, Troy, you ready to do this? Should we get in the game plan?
All right, on today's show, we begin with the greatest NHL player to wear number 86. Then it's off to a playoffs update, followed by a special extended series edition of Rookie Deep Dive. Then it's off to hobby news and new product releases. We will end the show with a fun Would You Rather game. So I guess Josh has created a fun game. He always likes to create those games. And I get to be am I the unwilling Bobo that has to sit there and try to answer the questions?
And I design games to torture you, basically, is how it goes.
That's fun. All right, let's get started. We're starting episode 86, the greatest NHL player to wear number 86 per the Hockey Writer's greatest player to wear each number article is Nikita Kucherov.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, never heard of him. Current player. He's still out there. Let's get into him. Overview. Right winger, which is kind of funny because I've always sworn he was a defenseman, but I don't know.
Pretty sure he's a defenseman. Won the Norris a few times.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Don't write in. We know. He is born in Maykop, Russian Federation, but grew up in Moscow. Kucherov was the 58th overall pick in the 2011 NHL entry draft by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov has played in 644 regular season games over a current 9-season NHL career, and obviously that will continue hopefully next year. Kucherov has played his entire career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lots of awards and accomplishments for our man Kucherov. 2-time Cup winner in 2020 and 2021. 1-time Hart Trophy winner in the 2018-19 season. He's a 1-time Art Ross Trophy winner. A 1-time Ted Lindsay Award winner. 4-time NHL All-Star Game selection. 2-time NHL First All-Star Team selection. 2-time NHL Second All-Star Team selection. He was also ranked number 72 on the Athletics Top 100 Players of the NHL post-expansion era. for his career. Kucherov in the regular season has 276 goals, 453 assists for 729 points. So he is over a point per game player. He's made the playoffs in all 9 of his 9 NHL seasons, compiling 53 goals, 107 assists for 160 points in 142 playoff games played. Think about that. This guy's been in the league 9 seasons. He's already played 142 playoff games. That's pretty crazy.
He's still only 29 too, so he can play a good 6-7 more years pretty easily, right?
Yep, for sure. Best season of Kucherov's career from a point standpoint was his 2018-19 season, where Kucherov had 41 goals, 87 assists for 128 points in 82 games played with Tampa Bay. Kucherov has scored 60-plus points in 8 of his 9 NHL seasons, scoring 100-plus points in 3 of those seasons. He has also scored 30-plus goals in 6 of his 9 NHL seasons.
Pretty good.
Definitely pretty good. Kucherov is one of the best players in the world. While he might not be the fastest skater or have the hardest shot, he makes up for all that, plus some, with having some of the best hockey IQ in the game. And I know hockey IQ is a term you can easily throw out there if you don't know anything else to say about this guy. But when you start reading all the stuff about him, his hockey knowledge and ability to anticipate have had all these NHL insiders, they label Kucherov as the Einstein of the game, kind of how he thinks about it. He's methodical. When he trains, he watches tape to know what defensemen are going to do. And he said this, I want to make all defensemen uncomfortable. So he tries to do things that he knows they're not good at, or go to make moves that makes them go to their weak hand side, all that stuff. However, I think the crazy thing, or the really cool thing, is many NHL players, you'll find quotes by Patty Kane, Jack Eichel, to name a few, that openly have stated that they watch tape of Kucherov to learn how he is able to anticipate plays so well, and how he kind of learn from him how he plays the game. So that's you don't hear that too often, where players are obviously saying that they watch another player all the time to get so they can get better. So that's pretty neat. Kucherov has talked a lot about that he played a bunch of handball and soccer growing up, which helped him learn about passing, how to get open, and how to be more creative. Again, I'm going to go off on a tangent. This all gets back into the multi-sport athlete kind of concept. USA Hockey's been pushing this. I think Canada Hockey's starting to pick up on it. You cannot play hockey 12 months a year. You will not get you will stunt your growth. You have to do other sports, or do cross-training, or do something else. And it's a reason, let me take a step back. It's one of the reasons that they're seeing in studies they do why Europeans, why Russians are kind of, I don't want to say infiltrating, becoming more, what's the word I'm looking for? There's
more success?
More success in the NHL per capita, I'll say it. Because look at Finland and Norway and Sweden. These aren't huge countries. I mean, I think Finland might have the population of Minnesota. But on a per capita basis, the amount of goalies they're producing, it all comes down to this multi-sport athlete. And I've said this before, I've talked about it. USA Hockey did a study, and they showed the athleticism of, I think it was 13-year-olds. And they took a Swedish team that came to the U.S. to play against this U.S. all-star team. And they had them do cartwheels and somersaults and all this stuff. The USK kids could barely do it. They almost killed themselves. Finnish kids are out there doing twirls, doing everything, looking like gymnasts. So there is something to be said. You have to be a multi-sport athlete. It really helps you. I'm sure there's examples of a person that's played hockey their whole time. Even Bedard, by doing inline hockey, is kind of a little bit of cross-training. But I'm curious if he's got some multi-sport in him. But again, that's my tangent on that. It's cool to hear an NHL All-Star and a guy of Kucherov's skill talk about
Can I go on a tangent too?
Go for it.
This goes back to your first sentence of learning about Nikita Kucherov. What's the Russian Federation? It feels like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think at times the name of that country has changed from Russian Federation to Russia. Obviously, before all that was the Soviet Union, but that's how they said it. So that's what I went with.
Sounds hardcore when you say Russian Federation.
It does. Okay, back to Kucherov. One thing Kucherov mentioned is he really started focusing on his nutrition when Steve Yzerman called him out for being quote unquote fat. which I'm sure doesn't fly in today's game, but back then when he called them out, it was pretty acceptable. So I think you can still say the same words, but you got to be a little more diplomatic about it. You're like, we'd like to see his
BMI.
Yeah, his BMI go down and stuff like that. But it was
I think
kind
Stevie Y called him fat with a PH.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
No, it was pretty more like fat with an FAT.
Yeah, he called him a FAT. So Kucherov took that to heart though, and got a little bit better in shape. So Kucherov did miss the 2020-21 regular season due to a hip injury and having hip surgery.
Can I give a warning though? Just everyone out there, it might have worked for Stevie Y. Don't say that to your wife.
Yeah, don't take Stevie Y's example. All right, we got fun, interesting facts. Actually, these are all fun facts, I think. Nothing bad. Kucherov's 87 assists in the 2018-19 season tied him for the most assists ever in a single season by a winger, tied with the great Jaromir Jagr. In addition, his 128 points in the 2018-19 season are the most points in a single season by a Russian-born player ever. That one made me take a step back, and I didn't realize that, but it makes sense, and I went and verified it, and that's it. Kucherov, we've had a long dead streak of this. He scored a goal on his first shot on his first shift against Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers. So back to our first shot, first goal, first shift guys. I love it.
Funny, Hank doesn't mention anything about that on the TNT studio.
On TNT. All right, Kucherov scored a goal in 6 straight games to start the 2017-18 season, becoming only the 4th player in the last 30 years to accomplish this feat. The others were Mario Lemieux, Keith Tkachuk, and Stevie Y. Then, the next game, scored a goal to extend his streak to scoring a goal in 7 straight games to start a season. He became the 6th player in the modern era since 1943/44 to score a goal in each of their team's first 7 games. He did not extend it to 8 games. He did not score a goal in the next game. Final fun fact. Remember, we are a family show, so I'm gonna abbreviate a term. After Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals, in which the Lightning defeated the Montreal Canadiens to clinch the series 4-1, Kucherov appeared at the podium, I'm going to put in air quotes, seemingly drunk and shirtless to answer reporters' questions, during which time he expressed his elation at the Lightning's defense of the Stanley Cup and praised the performance of Lightning goaltender Andrei Vasilevsky. During the conference, Kucherov also coined the term number 1 BS in reference to Vasilevsky losing the Vezina Trophy as the league's top goaltender that season to our boy, Marc-Andre Fleury. At the ensuing Stanley Cup parade, Kucherov and several Lightning players wore shirts depicting Kucherov during his interview next to his famous number 1 BS quote. I think that's
awesome.
Hilarious. I think that's hilarious. I love that stuff. And you can just see it like thick Russian accent, number 1 BS. All right, his rookie card. 2013-14 Upper Deck, number 483, Young Guns. PSA 10 has a pop of 388, gem rate of 61%. Last sale, May 3rd of this year for $410 US via eBay. The BJS 9.5 copy has a pop of 275 with a gem rate of 58%. Goes in the $215 to $300 US range, given the subgrades. And the PSA 10 pop, I should say, I didn't write all this down, but I remember it really fluctuated. It went up and down between maybe 400 and 500, just probably depending on how play was going. So it usually fluctuates around in that range. If you can find it, probably try to, if you want to buy it, find it on that cheaper end. That's what we got. Great player. Like, to me, I told you this just when I was like, man, this might be my most like underrated player. I think that I just don't know a lot about or don't hear a lot about, but man, he is fantastic.
Well, it's that whole Florida Bermuda Triangle thing.
Exactly.
But as we transition now into the conference finals, and start with the Eastern Conference, has someone found their way out of the Florida Bermuda Triangle? Can we say officially now that with Matthew Tkachuk, a star is born? Do we need Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga to sing a song about him now, or what's going to happen?
Mate, do you think he's like swimming away from the Bermuda Triangle, and right now he's like just getting within a quarter mile of shore? He can see shore. He knows he's getting out of it. He's making his way there because he has been absolutely awesome during the conference final or during the playoffs, whole playoffs.
Been awesome the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because people are really starting to notice now, especially in the hobby. The still only 25-year-old Flames forward Troy has propelled his Panthers team into the Stanley Cup Finals with an amazing 2-goal performance in Game 4 that included the game-winning goal with 4 or 5 seconds left to give the Panthers a 4-3 victory over the Hurricanes and earn the series sweep. Now, this happened since our last show, but doesn't it feel like a month ago at this point that
it does? It feels forever ago, and we still have Dallas and Vegas going on, and they're 4 games to 2. No, I'm sorry, 3 games to 2, right? Not 4. It can't be 3 games to 2. So it feels like if that series even goes to Game 7, the Panthers will be out for it feels like forever,
a long time.
Yeah, it'd be like a couple weeks or a week and a half or something.
Getting back to Tkachuk's game-winning goal, to me, it was a really incredible play. And what I appreciate most about it is, like with most great players, that he showed a lot of patience where he came from behind the net and skated all the way across. Somehow the Carolina gave him the opening to do that, which they probably shouldn't have. But again, I just sort of appreciate how patient he was with the puck on that goal. And really now for the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of waiting on the Tkachuk hobby breakthrough moment. And I think after that performance, it definitely happened. And we're in it. Whatever this Matthew Tkachuk run is, however long it lasts, we're in it. We saw a record sale on his 2016 Young Gun PSA 10, top 754 with a 62% gem rate, which sold on eBay for $305 on May 25th. That was the day the Panthers closed out the series versus the Hurricanes. And I'm not sure if you've noticed this, Troy, but there has not been many record sales on base Young Guns in a long time. So this is one of the first ones, and outside of a brand new release where you see spikes, but to have a guy who's been around for a few years, since the market has softened a little bit, we haven't seen record sales like that. So that was kind of cool. There was also a record on his 2016 The Cup RPA that we posted to Instagram. I think over $1,100 for that. And just the volume of sales is up pretty considerably. I looked a couple of days ago. I think this was through May 25th. And if you look through Card Ladder sales history, there were 266 Matthew Tkachuk cards that had sold on the secondary markets in April. So that's about 9 a day. As of the 25th, there were 740 Matthew Tkachuk cards that had sold this month, a jump up to 28 per day. So that's more than 3 times the sales volume as a month before. Wanted to throw in a little seller's note here too. If you have any Tkachuk cards that you're thinking of moving, in my opinion, and I'll get yours, right before the Cup Finals is the ideal time to sell. If Tkachuk or the Panthers don't play well, or God forbid he gets hurt during the Stanley Cup Finals, prices could start falling fast. There's going to be gamblers that say, well, what if he wins a cup? What if he has a couple goals in the first few games? Sure, the cards will go up a little bit. I kind of feel like right now, if you have Tkachuk cards, I'm assuming you got them pretty cheap a little bit ago and you're playing with house money. And what I would do is take the easy money and run. Maybe I'm just not that much of a gambler. What's your sort of philosophy on these situations?
Yeah, more than likely. Well, I'm more conservative when it comes to this stuff, so I would probably be selling and getting out and taking my gains or my wins and calling it a day. But some people want to gamble, and I don't fault you if you do want to gamble. You think they're playing so well they can win a cup, so you can go that route. Personally, I would be the one selling.
We got to do a quick Sergei Bobrovsky hobby update too. So not only did we have the Matthew Tkachuk base Young Guns PSA 10 record, Bobrovsky also set a record on his 2010 Young Guns PSA 10 Pop 91, set a new all-time high of $225 on May 24th. The previous high was $200 from last January, so January 2022. Officer Bob tried getting some hobby love.
Well, he definitely deserves it. He has been fantastic. Just imagine if he can keep the same play going up in the cup. I would be interested to see what his pricing does then, because then you have a goalie that actually went the whole. Well, I think he had a couple of rough games in the very first round, but going the whole way with just playing fantastic, which he has been doing since for sure the second and third round.
I had mentioned that his Young Gun record, which was just set as $225 on May 14th. So what is that? 2 weeks ago. Now somebody bought this card for 136 US, up almost $100 since then. 74% in the past month. Getting back to, again, the Cup Finals buying and selling perspective, I would sell Tkachuk and Bobrovsky ideally the night before the first game is probably when the hype will be at its fever pitch, but really any time now. And then I was trying to think, Troy, of Panthers guys that if they play well, if the Panthers are winning, you could maybe see a spike in the Stanley Cup Finals. And the three that came to mind were Sasha Barkov, Carter Verhaeghe, and maybe Brandon Montour. But Verhaeghe and Barkov are, to me, the two most likely candidates if they score some goals that maybe we'll see a spike in the finals. And I kind of just say that just to be ready. Look through those dollar boxes, pull out some of those cards that are value boxes that you might have if you're of the selling mindset, I guess.
Yeah, and when you said Barkov, you meant Alexander Barkov, right?
His nickname is Sasha.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. I'm trying to stem off the angry emails that we don't know how to pronounce anyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So looking at Carolina quick, tough way to end the season. The most unsweepy sweep I can ever remember, if that makes sense to you. They seem to play well in every game. But
what about Rob Brindamore's quote where he said they didn't lose 4 games? So that's tomato, right? Yes, you did. But I get the point you're trying to make. It's a very well taken point. I get it.
He's definitely driving the moral victory train right now. Oh, geez, we have a struggle bus. Are we going to have a moral victory train?
Oh, no.
Jeez. I think Rob Brindamore is the first person on the moral victory train.
If you are the one that's created on, you are the conductor of the train. So he is the conductor. Was it the moral victory train?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The cabin is so good for creativity. We might just have to move here. I'm not sure either Sebastian Aho or Seth Jarvis did much during the Eastern Conference Finals to elevate their hobby standing. It's pretty tough when you get swept out of it. So they will definitely move into off-season buying territory for both guys if you believe in them long-term or just collect or PC. Hurricanes probably wait 6 weeks or so and you'll get some good pricing. The one guy I was thinking about, though, for the Hurricanes is a guy that didn't play. It's Andrei Svechnikov, who is still recovering from the ACL injury. And I wonder if he could be a comeback story next year and one of our hobby comeback candidates. So he is a 2018 Young Gun, PSA 10 Troy has popped 1,032, 69% gem rate. Last sold for $74 on May 21st. Basically a 2-year low, which makes sense. He's hurt, out of the playoffs, out of sight, out of mind kind of deal. So that could go even lower in the next 4 or 6 weeks. To give you a little perspective, in late October, right before the start of the season, this card sold for $240 US. So, geez, it's more than 3x down. He's still only 23 years old. Was having an okay season when he got hurt, pacing for about 30 goals and 70 points, which is basically what we had the prior year. So not really a jump up in that regard, but definitely one to watch to see what happens this offseason. And he's a guy I might look at, but I would want to have a really good understanding of where he's at with his injury and what the timeline is there if he's going to be good to go for training camp, etc. Any final closing thoughts on the Hurricanes you have?
No, Hurricanes, go enjoy their golf game. I hope Kochetkov is getting ready for next year. I don't know what's going to happen with their goalie situation. They have 2 older goalies. I can't remember.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, you do bring that up. All right, cool.
Yep. We'll jump over to the Western Conference. Dallas showed a little life in Game 4. So they were on the brink of elimination, down 3-0, and they seemed to find their game a little bit, avoided the sweep in Game 4 with the 3-2 overtime victory over your Las Vegas Golden Knights, Troy. The old overtime hero, old guy, Joe Pavelski, at spry 38 years old, came through for the Stars and extended the series to Game 5. And speaking of showing a little life, young superstar JROB scored the other 2 goals in Game 4 for the Stars. Okay, Troy, this is the most important question I'm ever going to ask you, so I need you to pay attention and take this extremely seriously. While I was writing this random thought popped in my head, and I really need to know the answer. So we have JROB. Now, I know she's a little bit older, but let's just say he's into older women. What if he got married to J-Lo? So we have JROB marrying J-Lo. What do we call him? We can't call him J-Rob Lowe because Rob Lowe's a guy, and that would be like his hip-hop name.
Yeah.
He's like J. Cole. So now I'm all confused. What do we call J-Rob and J-Lo? And I'm going to just go ahead and predict that they're going to get married on the show.
Well, she just married Ben Affleck, so she would have to get rid of him first.
Well, they've been together and broken up, so that'll last like 6
I think you're trying to start another podcast where we just go off on random tangents around celebrities, a mix of celebrity sports and culture. No, don't worry.
So you're saying you got nothing?
I got nothing. Like, I like Rob Lowe and Parks and Rec.
In Game 4, the other goals were scored by Jonathan Marchessault and William Karlsson. Both of them had eight, or that was both of their 8th goal for the postseason. So it sent the series back to Las Vegas for pivotal Game 5, which is last night. We were watching the game on your phone in a very crowded restaurant here out at the lake with the band playing and lots of commotion going on. But the Dallas Stars got another victory and pulled off the game 4-2. This time they didn't need overtime. Had goals from Luke Glendening, one of your favorite players. You can see him, right?
I do. Yeah.
We're like
number one VC. Number one VC.
Also got goals from JROB and two goals from Ty Dellandrea. Chandler Stevenson and Ivan Barbashev scored for Vegas. So is this happening, Troy? Could Dallas pull off the miracle and come back from a 3-0 deficit? Or are we in the Matrix? What's going on here?
I know. So we'll have Game 6 will be, where's Game 6 at? Vegas?
Dallas.
Okay, so they go Dallas then Vegas. I mean, I could see it going 3-3. That'd be crazy. And what is it? Only 4 teams that ever came back from 3-0? That would be
yes. In the Stanley Cup playoffs history, 204 teams have faced a 3-0 deficit in a 7-game series, and 4 have come back to win, about a 2% success rate. I kind of feel like Dallas has a little momentum right now.
Yeah. Maybe that whole Ben getting suspended kind of kicked him in their rear. Maybe he did know what he was doing.
Yeah, I don't know. So are you thinking me and you should leave the cabin tonight, drive out to Vegas, and put your kids' college fund on the Stars to win the series?
Nope. Any team with Ryan Suter, I'm not trusting fully.
Ooh, the marshmallow thrower. Current odds to win the Western Conference are Vegas at -360 and Dallas at +280. So I know nothing about gambling, but I think that means if you bet $100 on Dallas, you'd win $280. Am I right?
And you need to bet $360 on Vegas to win $100.
So then I went down the odds rabbit hole on FanDuel. Florida is the favorite at +105 to win the Cup, followed by Vegas at +130. Next year, Troy, and I purposely left this off the notes to make sure you guess.
Okay.
The 2023-24 NHL season, guess who the Stanley Cup favorite is at +800 according to FanDuel?
I'm going to just say Edmonton.
Colorado Avalanche.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. Biggest long shot next season, Anaheim at +15,000.
Well, you might as well just, if you're in Vegas, you're an Anaheim fan, throw some money on them. Even $20, you could win a ton of money just if they come back and if they win that'd be fun.
This got me thinking, I think we should be sponsored by FanDuel so we can just become degenerate gamblers. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, there you go. We could have a little betting segment for them because since we're in a state where they don't allow betting, I guess that makes sense. But
Perfect
you can
sense.
And just for everyone's knowledge, like when we say -360 +280, you can actually convert those into percentages. So if you want to know what those odds are saying, like maybe that means Dallas. I don't know. I didn't do the math on it. It's not hard to find a calculator. It could be like it's giving Dallas a 32% chance. And then what smart gamblers will do, run all their models and say, well, I've ran this game, 10,000 simulations, and my model says Dallas will win it 45% of the time. There you go. You have an edge now because you're saying Dallas wins 45%. The odds are at saying we're in 32%. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I think I'm saying that right.
I'm just shocked. I think you're like Rain Man, and we do need to go to Vegas.
Don't believe me. I don't sports bet. The only time I ever sports bet, we go to my wife's family in Iowa, and I'll put like $1 on the Twins game or something that they're going to win because it's usually in the summer when we go down there a lot.
So you're the beautiful mind, and you'll run all the calculations on your spreadsheets, and I'll come up with the pitch to FanDuel. Here's how it's going to go. We're going to say to, okay, FanDuel, we're going to talk about you all the time on our podcast. We'll always give the odds, and whatever you pay us, we'll just lose right back to you.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how it would go for us.
Yeah, no kidding.
So that's a huge win for them.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, I don't even know if I explained it right. So that's the funny thing. So don't write in. I'll look it up. No one has to tell me how bad I was on explaining odds or anything.
If any of you work at FanDuel or like your dad owns it or something like that, you should definitely sponsor it.
or DraftKings, right? We might as well go for both of them while we're at it.
And I think scenario.
No. Josh, okay. I'm going on a tangent. So we said we're officially, so we have PWCC as a sponsor, which is Fanatics. Hey, Fanatics bought BetsPoint or whatever it is. So I think somehow we're now sponsored by a gambling site. I don't know.
By proxy.
Okay. Yeah, by proxy.
In this scenario, though, I think we could retain our standing as a family show. I'm not worried about that, because then we would just become the cautionary gambling tale that fathers tell their sons and daughters about. And really, if you think about it, we're doing all the dads out there a big favor by taking on gambling sponsors and losing all our money in the process. So, all right, we'll get back to hockey. Momentum is a crazy thing. In all honesty, Troy, do you really think Dallas has a chance, or do you just think they're going to lose one of the next two games?
I think they have a chance because I wasn't the biggest believer in Vegas, and Dallas. There's a lot they can do when you're playing for your playoff lives, and I think maybe I keep going back to that Ben thing for how stupid it was. Maybe it just kicked them in the rear end, and now they're coming out, and Ottinger finally figured out how to play goalie and not get pulled. So we'll see how it goes.
I kind of think they have a chance, too. I'm becoming a believer in the Stars comeback story. For that to happen, though, our boy Jaco needs to get rock solid very fast. He hasn't been better, right, the last couple games, but you even had some thoughts on him last night in Game 5, where I keep hearing, what are you doing?
Well, like that, I think it was the first goal, or second goal. I'm sorry, it was chaos at this bar. We were trying to eat pizza, watch the game on my tiny phone, but there was the one goal where the guy kind of just walked around him. Like literally walked around him and put it in the net. And it's like, you see Ottinger go down, which is fine. But when he goes to either push or stretch his leg, it's just like it comes up short. And I actually said, I wonder if he's got a groin injury or something. If something's going on, hips, groin, but I don't know. It just seemed like a play he should have made. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a great play by the Vegas guy to push and go with speed to get around him. I mean, but I felt like something's off, and I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, he needs to be good, though. That is a must if they're going to come back. Okay, let's give a little hobby update on Dallas and Vegas here. So JROB is on a little mini redemption tour on the ice. Now, has that moved the needle at all on his rookie pricing? Let's check. His 2020 Young Gun PSA 10 pop 1018 has a 39% gem rate. Last sold for $195 US. On May 27th. It is making a little bit of a comeback. It had hit, Troy, its all-time low on May 23rd. Its all-time low, selling for $135 US. And the 4 subsequent sales since then have all been up. It's still down, though, 55% over the past 6 months. Robertson does have 5 goals and an assist for 6 points in the series against Vegas. And for the postseason now, he has 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points in 18 games played. Another guy we've been following is Roope Hintz. In the series with the Golden Knights, he has a goal, 4 assists for 5 points in 5 games. Slowed down a little bit from the 2 previous series against the Wild and Seattle. But Hintz's playoff totals are now up to 10 goals, 14 assists, 24 points in 18 games played. That's pretty good. Last sale for his 2018 Young Gun PSA 10 popped 388 with 81% gem rate, was $95 US on May 27th. Actually down 4% in the past 2 weeks. There's definitely no hobby run on Hintz yet. And I wonder if his age is a factor in this. He's not even really hockey old at 26, but I just think, man, if he was like 23 still, like maybe JROB's age, 23, 24, that maybe people would be showing a little bit more interest because he's got a lot of points in the playoffs. And just still under the hobby radar, I guess. What do you think on Hintz?
Yeah, this falls into that. It's a young man's game, it seems like. Everyone we kind of look at or see these spikes are still these younger guys, except like Tkachuk, where you have to have like a monumental run, and he's, 25?
25.
Kind of a monumental run to get some Well, plus he's in Florida, but I think, the age probably has something to do with it.
Then there's Jake Ottinger. Do we dare see if his prices have perked up a bit? I don't know. Should we? Are you scared, Troy? It was pretty brutal last time we looked.
Yeah, let's see what we got. What do we got?
Well, I can report good news for Ottinger fans like yourself. Last sale on his 2020 Young Gun PSA 10 Pop 820 with 52% gem rate was $98 US on May 27th. That's up 32% in the past 2 weeks. On May 15th, this was selling for about $74 US.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
And then taking a quick peek at Vegas, Jack Eichel's 2015 Young Gun PSA 10 Pop 1011 had jumped up to 185 US, but the last sale was back down to about 130, so the card's down 24% in the past 2 weeks. That just could be normal fluctuation in between sales. And then the other guy that maybe has a little bit of hobby relevancy right now, I'm not sure, would be Aiden Hill, who's been pretty rock solid throughout the whole playoffs. And they had a lot of questions around goalie, too, with all the injuries that they've had. His 2017 Young Guns Raw are going for about $20 right now, US. Just to give you a little bit of context, too, on February 12th, so what would that have been, 3 months ago?
Yeah, 4 months. 3.5, 4 months ago.
Someone paid like $2.62 for his Young Guns and up to 20, so that's a pretty big increase. If you have any Aiden Hill Young Guns sitting around in your value boxes, pretty good time to pull them out and sell.
Yep.
Any other closing thoughts on the Western Conference Finals for you? Still going on.
Still going on. It'll be interesting to see. Game tomorrow. So we have no hockey tonight, which is depressing. Well, sorry. No hockey on Sunday night, the night we're recording. Monday night, when you listen to the show, there will be hockey.
But none for us tonight, which is sad.
None for us tonight.
Okay, I want to make a quick PWCC mention. Of course, PWCC is a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We want to thank them for sponsoring our show. Just a reminder that the current PWCC weekly auction is live. You can go to pwccmarketplace.com, check out all the hockey cards in this week's auction. On next episode, like we do every Thursday, Troy and I will pick out our favorite vintage and modern cards to highlight and learn about. One of my favorite things that we do on the show. And also check out their vaulting service where they can even help you get your cards graded. I did that with SGC, sent a bunch of hockey cards and loved the service. It was super easy to do. And then if you don't want to bid in auctions, they have a pretty robust fixed marketplace as well that has a ton of hockey cards. So again, check them out at pwccmarketplace.com. Okay, we're going to move into Rookie Deep Dive. And for this one, it's our 19th, by the way. We wanted to make it a little bit unique or special with the extended series release incoming on June 7th and a new crop of Young Guns. I thought, well, let's pick 4 of the more talked about rookies from the checklist, throw up a poll on Instagram, these 4 guys, and see which one people vote for to want to learn a little bit more and for us to deep dive on the show. Before we talk about the candidates for this week, just want to remind everyone of the 18 that we've done so far. So we've done Beniers, Boldy, Shane Wright, Slavkovsky, Owen Power, Shane Pinto, Kalen Addison, JJP. I just do the segment just to say that, by the way. Logan Thompson, Kent Johnson, Jack Quinn, not related to Jack Hughes or Quinn Hughes, Arbor Jacki, Andrea Kuzmenko, Pytor Kochetkov, Cole Perfetti, Wyatt Johnston, Matthew Nyes, and Luke Hughes, who is related to Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. So this week's candidates exclusively from the 2022-23 Extended Series Young Guns checklist were Kirill Marchenko, Jonathan Bergeron, Juuso Parssinen, and Aatu Räty. Don't know how to say his last name.
I think it's Ratty because the Gopher women's used to have a goalie, Nora Ratty.
Oh, okay.
I think that's right, but someone will probably correct me. We'll be confident in our wrongness, and that's the best we can give you.
Best we can give you. So we did, like I said, we did an Instagram poll, and Marchenko won the vote with 41% of the vote. Second was Aatu Räty, we're just going with it, 30%. Then Jonathan Bergeron at 21%, and Juuso Parssinen came in at 4th at 8%. So we're going to deep dive Kirill Marchenko. He's a 22-year-old forward, originally from Barnaul, Russia, not the Russian Federation.
Nope, just Russia. Russia by itself.
Big dude, Troy. 6'3", 197 pounds, and a current forward for your Columbus Blue Jackets. He was the 49th overall pick by the Blue Jackets in the 2018 NHL entry draft. I read a bunch of scouting reports from the 2018 draft, and here was sort of the consensus on Kirill Marchenko. Strong skater, good top-end speed, good on his edges, good hands, can make plays while moving at top speed. That's important. Much more of a goal scorer than a playmaker. Shot is accurate and has good release, but average power. Seems like a pretty good report.
Yep.
One of those guys from Russia that was drafted in 2018 and then ended up staying in the KHL for a couple of years. We know all about that with our guy, Kirill Kaprizov. Marchenko began his professional career in Russia playing in the KHL for HC Ugora in 2017. He would have been pretty young, 17 or so, and would later move on to SKA St. Petersburg, where he ended up spending most of his time in the KHL. In his KHL career, Marchenko had 34 goals, 30 assists, 64 points in 114 games played. Then after the 2021-22 KHL season, he ended up signing a 2-year entry-level contract with the Blue Jackets and started the 2022-23 season, this season in the AHL, with the Cleveland Monsters. And in 16 games played with the Monsters, was one of the leading scorers in the league, I think, at that point. 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points, so was very quickly promoted to the Blue Jackets, where he ended up finishing the season, playing 59 games, had 21 goals, 4 assists. So that goes back to that scouting report, more of a goal scorer than a playmaker. 21 goals, 4 assists, 25 points, 59 games played. Amongst rookies, with his 21 goals, actually put him third behind Matty Beniers and Wyatt Johnston, who both had 24. So I'm guessing that's where most of the current interest in Marchenko stems from when we're talking about extended series coming out in a week or so. The hobby sure loves its goal scorers. So the trick, I think, with a guy like Marchenko is to try to project or figure out, well, what does this all mean? Where is it likely headed? And one of the things that we talked about a lot with prospects is going back and looking at their pedigree. So we had already mentioned that in 114 KHL games, he had scored 34 goals, which is about 0.3 goals per game. That translates to about 25 goals in an 82-game NHL season. So if the thought, as you're looking at extended and you may be getting excited about Marchenko and you're seeing auctions on eBay that are getting bid up right away, if you think he has a good chance to eventually become a 30, 40 goal scorer in the NHL, I couldn't really find anything in his past that points to that. Other than he had a very successful, very brief stint in the AHL this year, but you're going off a 16-game sample size. So I would argue you're projecting a lot on that. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen and he won't be a 40-goal scorer in the NHL or more. I just didn't find anything in his history that points to it. So if that happens, that would be a case, I think, of the exception and not the norm.
The only thing in his history is basically his recent season. You could probably say maybe he might project out to 30 if he can follow that trend of the 21 goals in 59 games, which you hope. But again, what we've seen, pedigree, look at their past, see what happens. Not saying he won't become a 30 or 40 goal scorer, but just do your research if this is a guy you're excited about.
I also looked up the Blue Jackets prospect rankings, and once again, one of our favorite sources, The Athletic. And I found from February, Scott Wheeler's last prospect report. And in looking at the Blue Jackets, he has Marchenko ranked as their number 4 prospect behind David Jiricek, Denton Matichuk, and Jordan Dumas. Here's what Wheeler had to say about Marchenko. It's not super long, but I thought it would just be good to quote him is, Marchenko's a strong and sturdy winger who plays the game with skill, characteristic of a smaller player. Again, he's a bigger guy. With an A-grade hands and touch with the puck, which helps him fool goalies and defenders one-on-one or feather a shot into a specific location in the net from a tough angle when there isn't an opportunity to blow the puck past a goalie, which he can also do. I'd like to see him leverage his size a little bit more, but he's never going to be a mean, imposing player and has learned to use his length effectively in other ways, including through a shot, which he really needs to turn on a puck and use his forward momentum to lean into the shot from an off-balance stance. He's good in the home plate area and off the flanks. He has shown he can play at the NHL pace, And here's kind of the key part of the quote. I don't think he's going to be a star, but this is the start of a career as a good NHL player. He projects to be like that $5 million guy that team wants as a scoring complement. So I kind of took that as like a Kevin Fiala type comparison. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I take it as I want to be the $5 million guy on a team. I think I could do that. But yeah, it's funny when he mentions the off-balance shot stuff. What do you always hear about Bedard? That's the one thing he's awesome at, is the off-balance shot. So maybe Marchenko needs to study some Bedard tape. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
With extended series count, like we said, coming out in a little more than a week, he will likely be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, chase. If you're a Columbus fan or PC Marchenko, I think that's great. Go get him. I just wouldn't pay prices thinking this guy could be like an Austin Matthews type guy. Who knows? He might, but the tea leaves right now don't indicate that. What's your thoughts on Marchenko from everything that you've learned?
I still think it's almost near impossible to have 21 goals and 4 assists for 25 points in his season.
That's kind of funny.
When you're like 80% of your points are goals, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. I haven't watched Marchenko enough. I think he's got some interesting ideas. It's kind of with that guy, with how big he is, it's really, I don't know. It's kind of concerning to me about his shot not being just average. Mm-hmm. I think there's some work he needs to probably do there, but definitely one of the bigger chases. And for we'll say not a loaded checklist with extended coming up, he's definitely going to be one of the bigger chases.
He is an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Okay, we're going to switch into hobby news. I don't know if I think I sent this to you a few days ago, but I do want to mention there's a current auction at Goldin. It's like the Goldin 100, a special auction they're doing. I'm not really sure like what the reason is or meaning behind it, but
probably the Netflix show. They got to celebrate that. Ken's got to get his name out there.
I'm sure. Well, they're doing the first part of that right now, and there's 2 hockey items in part 1 of the Goldin 100, which ends June 14th, so still a few weeks left, a little 2.5 weeks left. One of the items is a 2017 Connor McDavid game-used All-Star jersey that has a starting bid of $25,000. No bids on it yet, so we'll see if that interests people. But the other item is the one I want to bring up. It is a 2005 The Cup Alex Ovechkin RPA out of 99 PSA 10 Pop 1. So the only PSA 10 copy of his Cup RPA out of 99.
Wow.
Current bid, Troy, sits at $152,000 US. And now with the buyer's premium, that puts it at $182,400 US. And again, there's still a couple of weeks left, so who knows? It may get more bids, it may not. Where it's at, though, this is really significant for a couple reasons. Number one, it's looking, so you're assuming it's going to get paid to, that it'll be the highest publicly selling Ovechkin card of all time. And if you even dig a little deeper at the 180,000, or specifically if it got maybe a bid or two more and got over 200,000, so playing a little bit of a hypothetical here, there's not many cards that have ever reached that level, or hockey cards, I should say. So you have the Gretzky rookies, right? The PSA 10 for OPG and Topps. Those are over $1 million. OPG is like almost $4 million. You've got the PSA 9 OPG Gretzky that in 2021 had sold over 200,000 a few times, but now is back down in the 115,000, 120,000 range. So you got Gretzky rookie, right? When you're thinking about what cards have commanded more than 200,000. The other cards on that list are there's 2 Bobby Orr rookies, a Topps 1966 Topps BVG 10 that had sold for 276,000 in 2021. There's also a 66 Topps USA Test PSA 9 that sold for just over 200,000 to 204,000 US in 2019. Then 2 other cards, a 51 Parkhurst Gordie Howe PSA 8 sold for 205,000 in 2021, and a 2015 Connor McDavid The Cup RPA at a 99 PSA 10. One had sold for 200,000 in August 2022. Another one for 288,000 in July 2022. That's not a big list of specific cards that have sold for over 200,000. It's, well, if you count the Gretzky rookie as 2 with the OPG and Topps, then the Bobby Orr is 3, Gordie Howe is 4, and Connor McDavid would be like the 6th card to sell for more than 200,000. Now, there's been multiple sales of some of the other ones, but that's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, I didn't realize that the list. I know we've went over it before, but that list is small, and this one should join the top 10. That's pretty crazy.
Again, too, you got to remind ourselves and everyone else that these are public sales. Privately, I'm sure there's big sales that we couldn't verify or maybe would not know of. We had heard about like the Ovechkin Retro Gold PMG 101 from 2020 Metal Universe that sold maybe for a huge number privately. But again, you can't verify those or they're not in public record. No matter how you look at it, this is just looking like a huge sale. And then getting back to biggest OV sales to date, the top sale as a public sale as of right now is same card as 2005, the Cup RP at a 99 was 105,780 at Goldin back in October 2021. And that was a BGS 9, so a lot lower grade. So right now we're almost 80,000 north of that. So that's a big increase from his biggest sale. I'm sure the PSA 10 factor is a big reason why, A, this is selling so much, and then B, of course, the hype around his chase of Gretzky. At the end of the day, though, it's going to be really fascinating to see where this one ends up. We'll keep following it for sure. You had referenced when we were talking about the Hurricanes, their goalie situation, and I did see an article about this. And what's really interesting, Troy, from looking at both Frederik Andersen and Antti Raanta, is both are scheduled to become unrestricted free agents on July 1, or can become. Not really sure what the distinction there is. So there could be some little bit of flux in the goalie situation for the Hurricanes. Now, looking at Andersen and Raanta, they both had pretty good seasons for the Hurricanes this year. Andersen was 21, 11, and 1, 2.48 goals against, .903 save percentage in 33 starts. Raanta was 19, 3, and 3, 2.23 goals against, .910 save percentage in 26 starts. The issue, Troy, with both has always been injuries, where Andersen missed 29 games this year. I think, was it him or Raanta that missed all the playoffs last year? I think it was Andersen too. One of the guys missed them both.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was.
They've just both had injury issues. The other thing I think you got to factor in a little bit might be age. Not that they're super old, but Ranta's 34, Andersen is 33. So it's going to be a big offseason question is, do they bring back one of these guys? Do they bring back both? And in the case where they do that, or maybe decide not to bring back both, does that open the door for Kochetkov to have a greater role with the team next year? But before we get into Kochetkov, I have one quick question I want to ask you about Andersen and Raanta. Using your goalie Jedi mind powers, do you prefer one or the other? Have you seen enough of them to kind of have even an opinion as to if you could only keep one, which one you think you would keep?
I haven't watched enough to have an opinion, but my opinion would be based off of this. If I truly believe Kochetkov is my goalie of the future, I'm bringing back the one guy that I think could be the best mentor for him, and I would go with that. That's how I would do it.
That's a great way to look at it.
I mean, that's what I would want to do, because I think they are, let's just say, penciling in Kochetkov to be that starter maybe next year. And they are both, Raanta and Andersen are both free agents. I looked it up while you're talking. This upcoming season. So yeah, I would really look at it on the mentor standpoint. Now, you'd have to talk to both of the goalies, because maybe one of them has no interest in being a mentor for someone that's going to take over his starting position. But that's how I would kind of look at him.
Kochetkov, of course, is the young 23-year-old Hurricanes prospect who's been waiting in the wings so far in 2 NHL seasons where he's played sparingly. He is 15-7-5, 2.43 goals against, .908 save percentage, 4 shutouts and 25 starts over those 2 seasons. It is something to keep an eye on from just like a hobby perspective, or if you're looking at who do I invest in this summer. The free agency period kind of coincides with the offseason dip. So if it is announced that they're not going to bring back both Raanta or Andersen, maybe Kochetkov becomes an interesting buy at that point. Would you agree?
I do agree with that, because I do think Kochetkov is the future for that team. And especially if you find out both of them aren't coming back or whatever they decide. And even if the offseason dip, if that happens to Kochetkov, he could be a very interesting play. So I would definitely be looking at him.
Okay, I want to give a quick World Championships update that nobody seems to be talking about. It's like buried. I was curious today. I'm like, is ESPN even covering this? on their website, even.
If anything, it's on ESPN Plus, but you're going to love this. Like, this is, I'll let you go into it before I start talking about it, but holy cow.
Okay. So, Team USA, our guys, were undefeated, 6-0 in the World Championships, and then were stunned in the semifinals, shocked by Germany, and lost 4-3. Of course, Canada, powered by Adam Fantilli's go-ahead goal, took care of Latvia 4-2 in the other semifinals. So it looks like it's going to be Canada and Germany in the World Championship Finals. So what am I going to love? He said I'm going to love this.
Well, let's think about this. Okay. We have USA set a record. It was unprecedented. They went 7-0, I think, in the prelims. So
okay, 7-0.
Could we say they are the Boston Bruins of the World Championship right now? You
Pretty
go
much.
Undefeated, and then you lose in the semifinals to Germany, and just guess what happened about an hour ago?
What?
Yep, the USA lost the bronze medal game to Latvia. So this is the second year in a row that we've lost the bronze medal game. But for that unprecedented run, or how well, I won't say, maybe it's not unprecedented, I think I heard that. But for how well they did in the whole group play and prelims, to just lose in the semifinal and lose in the bronze medal game and go home with nothing is very disappointing.
Not shocked. So we have Canada versus Germany. Is that game tonight then?
Yeah, it must be tonight, or maybe starting right now. I don't know.
Poutine versus Wiener Schnitzel.
There you go.
Decided for the world. Wanted to also take a quick look at the scoring leaders to see if there's any interesting players or prospects that have been lighting it up and that might impact the hobby. The top two scorers, I guess, before today were your guy, Troy, Dominic Kubalik from Czechia. He had 12 points with 8 goals. 27-year-old forward, plays for the Red Wings. The other guy with 12 points, leading the World Championships, current AHLer, Rocco Grimaldi, Team USA. I think he played for the Panthers for a couple of years, but been more of an AHL guy. So nice to see him have some success in the World Junior Championships. The other notable scorers, JJP from Team Germany has 11 points. Cutter Gauthier, the young Flyers prospect, only 19 years old, has scored 7 goals for Team USA as well. And upcoming extended series young gun Jonathan Bergeron has 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points for Sweden. And then my guy from hometown, where we're at right now, Scotty Prunovich, has 6 points from the blue line from Team USA. So that's our World Championships update.
Wow, pretty disappointing for the U.S. And I was listening to one of the athletic hockey shows, and I think they had the head coach on in the U.S. getting back to the roster things, and I don't know if he was complaining or if he was just giving input, because they kind of asked him about rosters and stuff, and he kind of opined, like, a lot of times when they ask someone to play, first question out of their mouths is, well, so-and-so playing? They always want to know who else is on the team before they commit themselves. So I think that's just an interesting nugget, too, on maybe why we're not seeing some of the players we thought we would see in this thing.
Okay, need to make a quick Slap Sharks mention. They, of course, as well, are a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We want to thank them for helping to make our show possible. A reminder that the current Slap Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. They do an auction every week where they always have amazing hockey cards. I was just perusing their auction a little bit earlier, Troy, and again, this week, some really cool cards. Like, how about a 2007 The Cup, Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, 1 of 1. That's it's not autoed or there's no mem, but still 1-of-1 card. There's a PSA 10 2021 Metal Universe Connor McDavid. That's really awesome. One of my favorite cards, the 2012 Fleer Retro Wayne Gretzky electrifying insert. PSA 10 already has a bunch of bids. And trying to think if there's anything else. A 66 Topps Bobby Orr, we talked a little bit earlier, a PSA 4. That's a really awesome card. Again, just every week they have great hockey cards. Go to slabsharks.com. There's a link there right to their eBay auction. Be sure to check it out. And also, if you're a Canadian card collector and are looking to turn some of your cards into cash, we would recommend looking at Slab Sharks as a potential consignment auction. They make selling your cards super easy. They basically do all the work. They post it or list it to eBay, answer all the buyer questions, hunt down payment when the auction's over, ship out the card, and you just kind of sit back and get paid, which is always nice. They also ship to the U.S., so that expands your buying pool. And really, their weekly auctions are becoming appointment viewing in the hockey hobby. And so you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on your cards just by being in their auction. Again, you can go to slabsharks.com and find all the information on their consignment services. Okay, so we're going to end today's episode with kind of a fun game that I came up with, and you're always the guinea pig in all my games. So this is going to be in honor of our cabin trip. Would you rather hobby style?
Okay.
The rules are very simple. I'm going to ask you a would you rather question. You're going to answer it. Any questions at this point, or
my first question is don't we have a segment after this?
Oh yeah, new product releases.
Okay, I just want to make sure I did totally miss something. I was confused for a sec. Awesome.
Yeah, had a brain fart.
All right.
We're just going to the second to last segment. Thank you for the clarification. So at the end of the game, I'm going to total your points, and based on a scoring system that only I know and can change at any second for any reason, I'm going to tell you if you won or not. Does that sound fair?
Might be just zeros. I don't know. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this.
10 questions.
I'm excited.
Question 1 of Would You Rather. Troy, would you rather invest in Austin Matthews or Matthew Tkachuk?
Ooh, this is a hard one because I am a new Toronto original Six fan. They're my team, and Austin Matthews is the star of that team. Personally, I just love Matthew Tkachuk, and like I said, he's one of those guys that just has grown on me over the playoffs. Maybe it's a recency bias, but I don't care. I love it. I'm going Matthew Tkachuk. I want to see him get more 100-point seasons. I want someone that's brash, that has a personality. I want him to win a cup. I want to win 2 cups.
Okay, fairly good answer. You get 6.2 points.
Nice.
Question 2. Would you rather have dinner with Wayne Gretzky or Pekka Rinne?
I'll say Pekka just from the goalie standpoint because I'd want to talk goalie with him more than anything about his upbringing in Finland. Gretzky, I feel like there's enough interviews out there. I could get his knowledge from other sources, but Pekka, I think I would do Pekka.
Okay. Negative 3.6. Question 3. Would you rather open 1 boxer tin of the cup or 5 OPG Platinum hobby boxes, which are roughly the same value, 2020 the cup versus 2020 Platinum?
Man, if I'm doing an ROI thing, I would go with OPG Platinum, but I've never personally opened a tin of the cup, so I'd want to do that. But if I'm going to go the ROI and just trying to make a little bit of money or get better value, I'm going OPG Platinum.
Okay. 0.32 points. Question 4. Would you rather own 3 Connor McDavid Young Gun exclusives or 1 Connor McDavid Young Guns High Glass?
I'm going to say High Glass. I want this more scarce. They're out of 10, right?
Yep.
I'm going High Glass.
64 points.
Wow. That was a big one.
Yeah. Question 5. If you can only open one of these 2 products for the rest of your life, would you rather rip SP Game Used or Upper Deck Ice?
Oh, I'm going to go Upper Deck Ice. I'm still mad.
Wow.
I'm still mad at Game Used because I don't know why I'm mad. I'm not mad at anything. I think Upper Deck Ice. I'm going to go keep Premier Hunting the rest of my life. At least, because at least there I have that big card for rookies. And maybe SP Game Used has a big rookie card that I'm forgetting, but I would do Upper Deck Ice, even though the symbol bothers me. Very petty with how I don't like things.
Negative 114 points.
Oh, 114. That's tough. Whew.
Question 6. Would you rather be coached by John Tortorella or Daryl Sutter?
Ooh, I'd say Torts. They're both cranky. I think Torts a little younger, maybe. But like you and me kind of talked to this, just not around this, but it was like, I think the game's kind of passed Daryl Sutter by.
Yeah.
Where Torts, I think, is still involved or is still really keen into what the game is. Obviously, Torts has a personality that just rubs people the wrong way. But I do like his it's my way or the highway attitude. But there probably is something in him that kind of needs to change. Because obviously, I think everywhere he's been, he's probably burned bridges and kind of ended it. But I think I would lean more towards Tortorella.
Okay. Question 7. If you were the GM of the Minnesota Wild, would you rather keep Kirill Kaprizov or trade him for Tage Thompson?
Oh, I'd probably keep him. I think you'd have a fan revolt if you traded Kaprizov for any reason until he's shows he cannot produce or something. But I think the Wild need to keep Kirill for now.
2 points. Question 8. Would you rather have the Connor McDavid Cup RPA PSA 10 out of 99 with anyone like with of the patch picks of your choice, PSA 10, or so maybe like a card worth 250, 300,000, or would you rather have the Connor Bedard Young Gun 101?
I'm taking the safe play. I want the McDavid. I have a known quantity. I know what he is. I know he's going to go down as an all-time great. Bedard, obviously that card's going to go for huge amounts, but there's still a lot of risk with him, so I'm going McDavid.
Okay, that will surprise me a little bit because you're a big Bedard.
I'm a Bedard believer.
10 points. Question 9. If forced to eliminate one, you have to eliminate one of these. Would you rather keep game-used patches on cards or autographs?
I would rather keep autographs. I'm a bigger autograph person than a patch person, so I would keep autos.
Ooh, negative 300. Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
And the last question. You have $10,000 to spend of your own money. So you have to go out of the bank, get $10,000 out, and you have to spend it in one of two ways. Would you rather spend it on Alexi Lafreniere Cup RPAs or an Upper Deck MVP blaster box?
Okay, I'm taking a very practical approach to this. Obviously, it'd be the Laffy RPAs because there's some crazy people out there that still buy those and they have a little bit of value still. MVP blasters, you're going to be struggling. Even if you get like the super scripts, they're not going to be worth that much. But I would probably take the Laffy Cup RPAs. But I think these two are converging the more Laffy struggles. So again, I want Laffy to do well. Just needs to turn it around. But yeah, he still does have a market out there for what he is.
Okay, how do you like the questions? Were they good?
Oh yeah, I like them. I like them because they make you think, but I mean, they're ones that it's like I can make a decision right away. It's just boom, here's my answer.
Well, I've got all your scores. I'm going to use right now the Gongshow supercomputer. And we're going to tabulate the scores, see how you did. Okay, Troy, you took third place, which is weird because you're the only one playing, but supercomputer says you got third, and your prize is a box of 47 used top loaders that have yellowed from the 1990s. Nice. And some have tape marks. Oh, that's a great prize.
Those are the worst.
All right, Troy plays Would You Rather.
I'm super happy.
Now we're on to our last segment, new product releases. So there's a couple things we want to talk about. We've both opened up boxes of 2022-23 Trilogy, which came out on Thursday, and we have some thoughts and reactions to that. Like I said, on Thursday, both of us scurried off to our LCS and picked up some boxes of Trilogy. We've already been posting some of the pack opening videos from one of those boxes on our Instagram, so definitely go there to check that out. Overall, I'm actually more impressed than I thought I would be with Trilogy.
Yep.
And I'm admittedly a sucker for shiny rainbow foil type cards, and so for that reason, I really like the Rookie Premiers cards. It does get a little confusing, though, with all the different levels, level 1, 2, 3, sort of, and associated parallels with that. We actually had a few people reach out to us and are like, I don't understand this. Can you help me try to figure it out? So in case you're wondering, I thought it would be good to very quickly go through that. Again, of the Rookie Premiers, there's 3 tiers. Each has the exact same checklist. So it's not 3 different rookie checklists. There's level 1, which you can think of as common, level 2, uncommon, and level 3, rare. Every card in every tier is numbered. So level 1 starts out of $9.99, level 2 out of $6.99, and level 3 out of $2.99. And again, each level has 3 parallels, red, blue, and green, that progressively become more scarce. So a green level 3 would be your most scarce, and a level 1 base would be your least scarce. Long story short, there's about 1 billion numbered Rookie Premier cards. I actually went up this morning and added all of them. So again, because the checklists are all the same players. So every rookie between level 1, 2, and 3, and with their associated parallels, has 3,001 individually numbered Rookie Premier cards.
It's a lot.
So it really is going to depend which one and which parallel you get as far as the value. But I do like the cards. They look cool. Yep. Again, I'm a sucker for that rainbow foil. I also really love the plexiglass cards. Yep. There's a couple variations of those. There's a Rookie Premier as well, out of like $2.99, and some are even shorter print. I didn't even include those in the 3001, so it's probably actually more. There's a Frozen in Time, which has current and past stars that can get pretty scarce too. And then there's some autos as well. They're super thick, very rigid, as you'd expect from like a plexiglass kind of material, kind of sticky. That's kind of weird on the edges. I think both noticed that. And I don't talk about base cards a ton, but I actually really like the design of these base cards. So for what it's worth, my only very personal and subjective critique, so I got to throw that out there, it's just me, would be that I'm not a big fan of either the Generations or the Rookie Renditions cards. I know that every set needs a little bit like a lower, cheaper, more basic insert, and so maybe these would qualify for that. I know there's some numbered parallels too there, but they just felt very papery. Like all the cards feel like shiny or cool, and then you get these like generation cards, and they seem more like you would get out of like Upper Deck Rookies set or something like that. I don't know. I just didn't prefer them, but that's me. Some people might love them. And again, I'll just go back to overall, I've opened up one box, watched you open up a couple of your boxes, and I'm more impressed than not. And it's exceeded my expectations versus disappointed me. So yeah, I kind of digging Trilogy right now. What's your thoughts on it?
I agree 100%. I'm in the same ballpark. I didn't think I would like this product very much. Nothing really jumped out at me on the sell sheet until I opened my 2 boxes, and then I really, really like the product. Now, maybe I'm biased because I'm going to say I hit my first ever pack pulled 101 out of a box of Trilogy. So that was the first pack pulled 101 I ever hit. It was hold on a sec. Now you were saying you didn't like Generations, but anyways, it's a Generations patch, Roman Yossi, purple, 101. So that's the first 101 I've ever pulled out of a pack. So that's pretty cool. Obviously,
it's cool that you pulled a 101.
Yeah.
Not that I love the card. But...
Oh, there you go. No. I was saying you were okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Obviously, great player. Obviously, not that much hobby love, I don't think, but we'll see. Cool card. My 2 autos in my boxes were, the first one was it was actually a 2021 update, crystallized signatures, Jonathan Marchessault. Very nice, thick plexiglass card. Looks great. Obviously, it's
awesome looking card.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool card. And then the other one was a base rookie premieres gold autograph of Eric Kallgren, the goalie. Is he from, I can't remember, Tampa Bay? Does that sound right? I can't remember.
I don't know where he is now, but he was in a Maple Leafs sweater in his
Yeah, I always forget Kallgren. So that was my 2 autos. Again, I like the product. I do like the product. I'm trying not to be swayed by hitting a 101, but I do like Josh said, there's lots of shiny cards. I got, there's a lot of numbered cards. Obviously, some are high numbered. Josh has kind of addressed this. I do like, I'll say this, for the price point, and I think we paid, what, $130 US dollars a box. For $130, it's, 6 packs, 4 cards per pack. You get a guaranteed auto, or on
some
average.
cards about 9, some packs about 9 cards.
Yeah, I pulled at least 2 packs that had like 8 cards in them. I think they got kind of stuck together. But for the price, you get a guaranteed auto on average. And a guaranteed mem card, I think, also on average. A lot of numbered cards, a lot of parallels. I think it's a good value for the $130 US dollars. So I am a fan.
We also open another box, which we have to talk about. Ooh. And it's a manufacturer, Leaf, which we have. Had you ever bought a box of Leaf cards before this?
I have not. That was the whole reason I bought this, is that I have never bought a Leaf product, and it's the art of hockey, so what better way for me to buy a personal box of it? So I tried it.
Well, how'd it go?
Well, I will say this. And again, this is me just opening one box. I wasn't that impressed with the product. Now, it's not like I hit any huge cards or anything, but I just wanted to give it a try. I didn't hit anything huge, but I think it really did solidify. I'm not a big unlicensed product guy. I've never been a big one to go out and find unlicensed cards of players I like. And I think this kind of just reemphasized that. I do like the cards come encased. They're already encased, which is really nice. Plus, with this box, the Art of Hockey, you're getting 4 cards, and they're all going to be mems and or autos, I think is how it worked out. So, and it's $270 is the price point. I guess that's fair. I don't know, with what you could hit, maybe. I don't know, maybe a little tad expensive, but just something I had to try. I think are you going to mention the Maynome?
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
I'll just color commentate.
Yeah, so one thing is, if you look at the sell sheet, there's a Minome Rayom card. I don't know if it was in the sell sheet, but just go find it in this product. I don't know. I like art and everything, but whoever did that or their interpretation of what she looks like is awful. I don't know how that card ever made it in. If you've seen a picture of Minome Rayom, even now, it looks nothing like her, and it is kind of, I don't know if it is embarrassing the right word. It's kind of it's like when they revealed those statues of like Cristiano Ronaldo, and the statue looked nothing like him. It's just stuff like that where it's like, man, I don't know. I would have probably pulled this card. So that kind
I'm
of
a happily married man, but she's still very pretty.
Yeah.
And this card made her look hideous.
Yeah, it didn't do justice. I just don't like how it was such a misrepresentation. And I think there's something that could have been done there. That was one card, obviously. There's a lot of other cards in this. So let's like kind of look what I hit out of my box. 4 cards, right? So the first one was a portrait autographs, Teemu Selanne, numbered 6 out of 6. So it is a red parallel, and that took me a little bit to figure out because on the checklist it says reds. I think it says 9 or less, and I kept going through. I'm like, I don't see a 6, but then it popped on me. Well, it's red because it's 9 or less. Purple are 5 or less, so it's a red parallel. That was the first card I hit. Second one was a art of a champion, Ron Ellis. He was a Toronto Maple Leaf autograph. It's out of 7. Again, I think this is a red parallel. Both those cards did have like a red tinge, so it kind of makes sense. And then my 2 memorabilia cards. First one was a paint by numbers, Roberto Luongo. And the second one was the Object de Art, Curtis Joseph, a bronze out of 45. The Luongo, I think, was out of 20, if I remember right. And I think it was a navy, if I looked at it. So all my cards, I think, besides the Curtis Joseph, were like parallels or very low numbered. And one thing that bothered me, too, it's like Object de Art card of Curtis Joseph. On the card, it's spelled OBJ. I can't remember. They left out one of the letters to make it. I don't know if it's a way to say it, but on the checklist, they just spell out object all the way. So it's just like some differences there. It's an interesting product. It's obviously not one I'm going to buy again. I like that I hit a Selanne. That was pretty cool. But again, Josh, I'll let you talk a little more about the portrait of him, and it's just like what I'll let you get into what we thought about it, because I kind of agree with what your thoughts were.
Selanne is a cool auto.
Yeah,
really like his signature. I was really pumped. We had a little late night rip session last night with Trilogy and Art of Hockey. So straight to the point for me is I think now I'm out on Leaf, and I have 2 very specific reasons. Number one is I think we're giving them a little too much credit or we have given them too much credit for their ability to mask or hide the fact it's an unlicensed product through creative athlete positioning or artwork. Like the Ron Ellis card you got that was out of 7 is a full, like from the front view. It was just him in like every like solid blue uniform.
Yeah. It looks weird.
It looks totally weird. And then like on the back of your mem cards, the Luongo and Cujo card, they have like this like weird solid colored jersey with their number.
Yeah.
But the number was weird, and it just the whole thing looked strange, and I didn't like it. My second critique, and this is very specific to Art of Hockey, and I think it's helped me form an opinion on art cards too, and just others I've seen recently, is that if you're going to do a set that has artistically drawn or painted cards of athletes, I've decided they need to be really good and accurately depict the athlete. Otherwise, it throws. And the person I thought of, it's not hockey, but do you remember the Project 70 cards that Lauren Taylor did?
Lauren Taylor, they're the best art cards. Yeah, they're awesome.
Oh my gosh, is she amazing? And it looks like the athlete, and it really does knock your socks off. These were not it. There's the Mayon Riom, and even the Teemu, I had to look at side-eyed for like 10 minutes, and it's like, is this really Teemu? It looks sort of like him. It maybe looks like a cousin that played junior hockey now and again, and one of his cheeks is really puffed out, like he had a big dip in his mouth, and I don't know if he did that or not. I'm not sure, but I don't think the art is very good. Sorry, that's just kind of my opinion on that. One area, though, where I do give Leaf big props is on your mem cards. So the Curtis Joseph and the, who was the other one? Roberto Luongo, all game used.
Yep.
They were swatches, not patches, I believe.
Yep.
But still, game used. I give them big props, big plus for me there. Okay. Well, that's our show. We're going to go eat dinner soon. So got to fire up the grill, and it's going to get noisy around here again. Probably a good time to sign off. If you like the episode, please leave a rating review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, want to support us, want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our out of 99 support level tier on Patreon. I think 9 spots left still. The link is in the show description, or you can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. If you want, go directly to the Patreon website at patreon.com, search for Hockey Cards Gong Show, or in our link tree, which is in our Instagram and TikTok profile. There's a link there that you can use. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollarbox Ventures, LLC. Happy Memorial Day to everyone in the U.S., and we'll see you on Thursday.